This is California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We're in Long Beach today, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Jerry Schubel. He is the president and CEO of the Aquarium of the Pacific. His partner in crime, Kevin Wattier, who is with the Long Beach Water Department, the GM. What a great name for you to have, Wattier, and being the GM of the Water Department. But what's even better, I think, is the partnership that has developed between the Aquarium and the Water Department. At some levels, it feels natural. At other levels, why did you decide to partner with the Aquarium?
Well, it's interesting. Jerry and I both came to Long Beach about the same time, so we've known each other and worked together really over the last 13 or so years. And you know, their world-class reputation and knowledge of world issues, associated with the environment, and our concern here in Long Beach with water and water conservation, I think it makes for a natural partnership between our two institutions.
And as I understand it, when I have visited the Aquarium, I see lots of water. And yet, your water usage is down significantly.
Well, most of what you see is salt water. So our freshwater usage is way down.
How have you been able to do that?
Well, we implemented a program where we have put in low flush toilets, waterless urinals. We got rid of leaks. We changed the way we water the plants that we have. We put in a California native garden and a drought tolerant garden. So we wanted to become a showplace to let people know that you can do these things, and it doesn't compromise the quality of life or the beauty of the outside, the landscaping.
So as a result of their outstanding efforts and otherwise, you recently held a forum at the Aquarium looking at water and water issues. Give us a sense of kind of the headline at that forum.
Well, the headline was, what is California going to do, particularly Southern California? What is California going to do about, we're now in the second drought in the last 8 or 9 years.
Right.
What are we going to do about it? It's interesting, whenever we get into these droughts, our leaders, our politicians always say we need to make water conservation a way of life. And that's what they say during the drought, and then the drought goes away, and we fall back into our normal wasteful practices of wasting and abusing our water supplies. And I think the key finding of this group is that they're right. We need to make water conservation a way of life every year, wet years, dry years, doesn't matter. We need to be saving water as much as we can all the time. I think that's the key finding of this group.
So what can we do, not as an aquarium operator or as a department GM, but as someone who lives in the state of California? We want to help. Sure, we're flushing our toilets less, we're watering less, but what else can really be done?
Well, the biggest opportunity, and in California, we've done a great job of reducing indoor consumption like they have at the Aquarium, and really throughout all of California. We've done a great job on toilets, urinals, dishwashers, washing machines. There's still some opportunity there, but the big opportunity is landscape. And that's what they've done. That's what Long Beach has been the leader in California at incentivizing people to tear out their grass and put in a beautiful California-friendly landscape.
So let me ask you, if I may. I presume that the Aquarium, like most places, has a single meter system. When you're looking at the amount of water that the Aquarium uses, is this right, sir? It's just one number.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Right.
Is it time that we, as a state or as a community, look at changing the way we evaluate water usage? Should we have 2 meters? Should we have a meter that looks at indoor use and a meter that looks at outdoor use? Because arguably, the outdoor use is more of a luxury, arguably.
I think so, and that's one of the recommendations that several groups have come up with. A group that's looked at Los Angeles has suggested the same thing. Now, we do have about 1,200 of our 90,000 accounts in Long Beach are only what are called irrigation accounts. So they're only measuring irrigation water. So we're really focused on those right now because, again, that's where we know you can get tremendous results.
But are you charging more to those irrigation accounts? Because that would be the policy pronouncement for some.
We're going to be developing and most likely implementing next year a rate structure which would charge them less if they're really efficient and charge them more if they're wasteful.
So,
one of the things that we do as an institution, since we get more than 1.5 million people in person and several million more than that coming to our website, we want to help California reframe its relationship to water.
And I wanted to ask you about that, because part of what happened at this forum was a set of principles presented, and one of them was to look at the question of public education. I mean, what a better place to do that than at the Aquarium, which is a magnet not only for Californians but the Southwest of the nation.
And we agree with you, and we have always done programs in water and water conservation, but now we're going to change the focus on those to reframe the relationship of Californians to water, one of our most precious resources. Where does it come from? Where does it go? How will it be affected by climate change? All of those things. What we did in the past when we had a population of 10, 20, 25 million, it may have gotten us through these droughts. When you've got 38 million people and the population growing up, continuing to grow, we've got to redefine our relationship and use less water on a continuing basis, look at the allocation among the different users, and I think also we have to price it appropriately.
The one thing I've learned as I've delved into this issue as a journalist is how little I truly knew about water and the delivery of water. And, you know, I consider myself fairly informed. Boy, I was completely ignorant. And I can't imagine I am unique. And even during this time, I still feel as if we are just we're blind to what it takes to deliver water to our tap.
And I think part of it's conflicting messages the public receives. And I think it isn't just politicians, but some of our large water wholesalers. They tend to think that we have to reassure the public everything is okay, and it's not okay.
And yet, over the last few weeks, we've had rains, which for many of us, including myself, have been somewhat emotional. I mean, truly, it has been emotional to kind of see the water come out of the sky. And at points, it's come out really hard. What does that do for us now that we are seeing some rain?
Well, you know, this is the hardest time of the year for us to keep that conservation ethic up. But actually what we've had a very progressive, aggressive education program in Long Beach. So we like to use very dramatic things to get people's attention, like pictures of key reservoirs and how low they are. And
I had mentioned, I think it was to you, Jerry, I was in Shasta, California, in Redding. I looked at Lake Shasta, which is, I think, the largest reservoir in our state.
Yes.
The description I used, it looked lunar.
It's only 23% full.
Yeah, it looked lunar. And because there were these islands protruding up with a odd maroon color silt, and I got spooked.
Well,
at least as frightening, though, I think, is the reservoir that we can't see. What's happening to our groundwater?
Right.
That was always the safety net. We don't know how much is there. We do know the levels are going down significantly.
So let's talk about groundwater briefly. I know that you've been a leader in trying to look at the question of how we use groundwater. We know that some regulations were passed over the summer. First we've ever had. Even Texas had them. How's that looking? How's that looking for us?
Well, the state, it's interesting, in urban Southern California, most of our groundwater basins are adjudicated because, quite frankly, we got into the situation that the rest of the state's getting into now. About 50 or 60 years ago, we were pumping, and we couldn't continue to do it. So in urban Southern California, most of our groundwater basins are already in compliance with what the state's now going to require.
But a lot of them are contaminated.
Some of them are. We're fortunate here in Long Beach that ours is not, but some of the aquifers in Southern California have been contaminated, yes.
So what was the takeaway from the forum, sir, gentlemen?
Well, let's see. Maybe we'll go back and forth. Yeah. One of the takeaways, we have to get used to having less water. With a growing population and with climate change, the two sources of imported water to Southern California, from the Delta and from the Colorado River, but those will both go down. As climate warms, nature uses more water, and so do human beings, so we have to get along with less water.
In our final moments, what was your takeaway?
Well, again, I think this is a very, it's good news and bad news. The takeaway was we need a permanent 15 to 20% reduction in water use. The good news is that's not very hard.
And we're getting there.
We can get there.
His name is Kevin Wattier with the Long Beach Water Department GM. His name is Jerry Schubel. He is the CEO of the Aquarium of the Pacific. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California Edition.